Hey y'all, it's your Queen Pimp Sun Kiss coming through right quick, right fast with a royal review for The Best Man, the final chapters, episode 2, The Wedding. And y'all, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into, so we pick up where they left off on the first episode, and that is with Shelby coming in and blowing up the spot like no other and looking darn good while doing it. I'm talking about H2T, darn good. Y'all please be prepared to get a fashion review, okay, for this show as well. Coming up with a lot of things. Into who? Everybody is trying to see where to place the blame. You hearing not me. I ain't invite her. I ain't tell her. She said she wasn't coming. Child. Jasmine is scurrying, trying to figure out what to do. She ain't trying to lose her job. Get this dance. But your girl Candy is here for it, and I honestly think that a couple of other people are here for it as well. But they just ain't gonna show it because, you know, they trying to, have some class and be supportive and respectful and everything. And speaking of classy and respectful, can't remember which one come first, the chicken or the egg, but we gonna start with this confrontation, this cool, breezy confrontation between Shelby and Xiomara and Q, okay? It is Shelby versus the green-eyed bandits, and your boy Q is trying to keep it together. You see he up there trying hard not to gawk at her like she a two-piece and a biscuit. Like she a pork chop sopped up with gravy with greens and string beans on the side. And you can't tell me he ain't a little perked up, that he got the girlies kind of going at it over him. But let me do say, they not exactly having like a cat fight, all-out recess or nothing. It's real nice nasty. Now, I think Shelby showed up to really get with the girls, but Xiomara is such a class act, honey, that she is giving you all types of Karen Hugo. Because she clearly recognizes what's going on. She knows exactly who this is, and she know why she came. But she ain't even gonna get her the satisfaction of getting real fiery on Nathaniel like that. She come in real smooth. Oh yes, cute. Oh, she came all this way. Go ahead and make sure she's comfortable. Have a glass of wine. Spend some time. And even though she's coming off real smooth with it, there is a subtle energy of trick. I see you. I know what you came to do. But see, this here, sugar, is my man. From the top of his head to the soles of his feet. From the clothes that he wears to every piece of food he eats. In the words of Karen Hugo, you will not come from my institution. Because her institution, honey, is solid. And it is sacred. Boo-boo. Okay, she ain't saying it. She ain't saying it precisely like that, but the energy, the eyes, the body language is just giving all types of, girl, enjoy it now. Because, darling, he's mine. You may have had him once, but I got him all the time. Period. And she even follows it up with a cherry on top. I'm talking about sealed it with a kiss and said, baby, come in when you come in. But Harper tries to interfere on the situation, and she gets him together and also tells him that if he looking for a blessing on that movie, that he gonna have to get her role absolutely correct in her contract. Absolutely correct. Now, you know, you can't be playing no game with Shelby in contracts. Ain't no telling what she gonna want in that contract, honey. Tess. But he also tells her that he could just write her out. Ooh, not you a non-mother factor. But she like, oh, you want it to be good, right? And honestly, with the stock that Shelby has now, being a popular reality star, that would get him a lot of buzz to keep Shelby's character in. But, you know, he got her together real quick. But Quentin then reappears, and she continues to harass him. He slides on back through, and it's like, I need you to get away from me. And she insists on pleading her case. She said, baby, she is a peacock. You or a peacock. Two peacocks can't flock together. You need somebody to play your background. And that's very interesting too, that Shelby is willing to be like, oh, I don't want to put it in that way because I don't think she said, like, I guess the less dominant, if you will, I guess. Because I'm like, Shelby, you an attention whore yourself. But I guess what that is her showing what she's willing to do. She's bargaining something that she's willing to do in comparison to something that Ziamara won't be willing to do. Because Ziamara definitely throws her mind, body, soul, face, space, everything into everything that Quentin does. Honestly, into every situation. It doesn't matter who's around. Ziamara will suck up the energy, and she will suck up the space, and she will suck up all of the attention. So I get what Shelby is saying on that. Quentin could definitely end up getting fed up and exhausted with that type of personality, because Quentin is not so much of an attention whore or, you know, a narc in that way, but he definitely is a dominant presence. He definitely draws attention and demands attention effortlessly, you know? And so a person like that, male or female, has great purpose. And no one can diligently fulfill their purpose when you have someone always trying to suck up their spotlight, your mama's spotlight, your daddy's spotlight, your cousin, your brother, your sister, they mama, everybody ancestors wading in the water, suck all the water up too. Just got to have everything. But as you can see, they going back and forth. She can't love you like I love you. You don't love me. Why you even care? You can't satisfy her. I'm all up in her. You couldn't do that with me. Oh, I can't tell I couldn't do that with you. Oh, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. And you know, the last two people that said that ended up where? Boom. Shakalaka. In the sack. On his lap. Y'all know what last two people I'm talking about. Jody and Yvette. I hate you. I hate you. A shame and a scandal. A shame and a scandal. Shout out to Aston Shanae, aka For the Love of Juice. Anywho, that scene wraps up and we get the beautiful title card and the secondary title card, chapter 2, the wedding. Beautiful scenery of the environment, honey. And it is Lance having a dream about our girl Mia. Man, this shook me up so bad when I first seen it, because I was like, oh my gosh, he gonna be so distraught once he realized that it's only a dream and his wife is still gone. But he leans over to kiss her, and the face that he sees is Jasmine's. But when he wakes up, it's some random. And it seems like at this moment he has some type of revelation or enlightenment or whatever. He goes over to the window, starts staring out. You can see he has a contemplative face, if you will. But we don't stay there too long. We flash over to the next scene of Harper talking to his agent. And it seems like he is having some guilt remorse type situation going on, where he is ready to backpedal and see Pop out of the movie, well, the book turned movie deal. You know, he's feeling bad about how Lance snapped on him. I think he's also feeling apprehensive about kind of how everybody else has been coming at him about the whole situation as well. And he's ready to take himself out the game with it. Well, not totally out the game. He just is ready to back out of that deal for the sake of maintaining his friendships. So here we have another example of what Harper is willing to do to maintain the normalcy, stability, integrity, loyalty of his friendships. And that's going to be important to remember when we get on down the line, because also we know how big Harper is about money and material things as well. And his agent is really talking some big money, some big numbers, big old bags as it concerns this book to movie deal, which we can definitely believe because we've seen how books, best-selling books, really great books can get turned into movies, and even when they suck as movies, they still make hella money because people love the book so much. So it's automatically going to sell one way or another, and somebody is going to be entertained by it one way or another because that's the effect of what's already been created of the arts. But his agent is definitely giving it to him good, doing his best to make sure that he gets him to sign off for this movie situation. Done sent him the estimated amount that he is bound to make, and he looking at that like, cha, tisk. But he gets off the phone and doesn't even like give himself the opportunity to respond to that before Robin enters the room. So Robin enters and he turns to her. He see her about to go out on the town or whatever. She going out with the chef lady. And he like, wait a minute, you finna work? We on vacation. And she like, no, I'm not working. I'm just taking everything in. You know, it's clear that while that friendship is a benefit to her career, it really is a friendship. A quickly formed kindred spirit type kinship. And there's a look that Harper gives her as she's exiting that makes me feel like the same thing as what I was saying about Harper's reaction to Quentin getting married initially. I understand more so now that Harper was on point when it came to Ziamara and peeping her like fake woke-ish and all this, that, and the third. Howsoever, I feel like the other part of what I said concerning Harper being taken aback and in a fourth thing when it comes to change and people around him changing and doing different things, he has some type of discomfort or fear behind that, specifically as it concerns Robin. And I think it's because he is not only used to Robin being in a certain set place for him where he can always have access to her. So he's used to it, but it's also like he likes it and kind of like feels like he needs it. So as we see Robin coming into her individuality more so, we see the different ways that makes Harper uncomfortable. And if you remember from the first movie, Harper has this Virgo control freak type thing about him where he needs the people in his life to do what he expects them to do at all times, or he will discard them a lot of the time. He's gotten better at the discarding part, but the control freak nature and the wanting to kind of micromanage the actions of people, if you will. You remember Robin cussing him out about him trying to handle her like a character in one of his books. He still kind of has that thing about him. He's grown out of it in a way, but it's still there. And I like how the writers show us that while people evolve, and even the most like well-rounded, agile people can evolve and learn new things, there are certain things with each individual that won't ever change. They may learn how to stabilize it, or they may learn how to, use it in a better way or redirect the energy in a better way. But there are certain things about certain people that won't ever change, and the people in their lives have to just learn to accept that and love them unconditionally for it. And or love them unconditionally in spite of it. So we pick back up with Candace and Marge is coming in completely apologetic while Candy is fed up with his crap. So he continues to be empathetic and apologetic, and he basically gets to the point of releasing his grasp on the best man position as he is continuously apologetic for kind of disrespecting and disregarding Candace in the process of steady trying to pursue being best man. And he leads into basically his motivation being that he misses his friends, and it seems to be an effort now to get time with them and get in touch with them. Because, the older you get, the more responsibilities you get, the more your energy is going towards things that you need to do as opposed to what you want to do. So we're definitely getting some displays of those uncomfortable points of change, and getting to witness how people deal with that, not only as individuals, but also while they're married to other people. So trying to find that balance. And this is another example. Like I said, if you haven't seen all 3 parts of my review on the first episode, definitely tune in. I made some great parallels between Robin and Murch, Robin and Harper's relationship, and Candace and Murch's relationship. And I'm going to continue to do that because there are a lot of parallels and there are a lot of things to come, of course. But this is another example of what I mean when I say that Candace and Murch work very well as a team, and they kind of have a lot of the things that Robin and Harper lack. It's a certain set of things that if Robin and Harper had them, their relationship would be that much better and that much stronger. And a couple of those things is compassion, patience, and empathy. And all of those things are characteristics that Candace and Murch effortlessly have and pretty much effortlessly display with each other. As well as honesty for the most part. Because as we saw at the rehearsal dinner, Candace, will be patient with Murch and let him get his little irritation, his little irritations and his little irritating things out. But she is not afraid to call him out even in front of people once he's really like doing the most and needs to be reeled in. She will reel him in and ground him. And he tends to do well in that area as well. Murch is seen as a pushover, but when it's really time to put some shit in order, Murch will definitely boss up and power up on that ass. And what Murch also has, in particular, which is a stark difference from Harper, he is empathetic and he is willing to admit when he's wrong and apologize. He's willing to back down and accept and acknowledge when he's wrong. And that goes a long way. It's so many people that don't realize the concept of choosing your battles, definitely, but also the benefit of holding yourself accountable, as well as allowing other people to hold you accountable as well. So Murch coming to apologize to Candace and then explaining to her, because obviously Candace calling him out, and it seems as though she like pulled back from him. Because you see, when the scene first started, she was sitting by herself, having a breakfast by herself, just enjoying her own time. So obviously she said what she said, and then she set a boundary of, hey, you need to get yourself together. You got some things to think about. And when you think about it and get some clarity on it, you come clarify the shit with me. And that's definitely what it gave. She said what she said. She set her boundary. He did his part, and he came through, met her halfway, apologized, and he was able to, like I said, bring an explanation. Not an excuse, but an explanation for his behavior. And I feel like that's important to note, because a lot of the time people can misconstrue explanations for excuses and vice versa, going and coming no matter what side you on. Because sometimes people think they just explaining when they really making excuses, and sometimes the person on the receiving end may receive the explanation as an excuse when really the person is just trying to provide clarity. And again, that's why I feel like it was important to note, because Murch in this case was providing clarity to Candace, because it's already been a thing and they've already discussed it also, how they've been just like going through the motions of their obligations and everything and working as a team as far as their career and their life as parents and things of that nature, but they've been neglecting the romantic side of things and the fun side of things, probably the sex side of things as well. So it's necessary also that for them to be on such a luxurious, beautiful, love-filled island, and he's giving his attention to everything else, it would definitely create some insecurity for Candace, because true enough, we know Merch to be a particular type of way that he is. And Candace knows him to be that. But at the same time, he's married. He has a wife. You know what I'm saying? And it's certain things that he should feel naturally. And also, she's been feeling neglected. And he's been mindlessly digging the knife in. So it's definitely good that he has the capacity, the emotional and the mature capacity to be able to tap into that and tap into her vibe and where she was coming from when she snapped on him. And, you know, go ahead, bite that bullet, humble himself, and admit his faults. And like I said, let her know that it's not personal. He's just missing his friends and he's missing elements of a life that he used to have. And he makes a proposition of compromise to Candy after she acknowledges and validates what he says about, you know, him missing his friends and everything. And she tells him, you know, make the effort then. True enough, it may feel like an effort, but all you have to do is make the effort in order to spend time with your friends. But also, you need to put forth that same effort, if not more, in your marriage and to your wife. And he acknowledges and validates that. And like I said, makes a proposition of compromise to her to make the rest of the day and evening all about them spending time with each other and being intimate with each other and whatnot. And as soon as he releases his grasp on best man, here come Harper, frantic about the whole Ziamara situation because Q is apparently on his ass. And he makes a proposition of compromise to Merch. Not to become best man, but to fulfill one of the most important jobs of the best man, and that is finding the rump shakers for the bachelor party. Yes, the exotic Zansas, the shipper girls, yes. And Candace is immediately taken aback, and then a fourth, and shout out to Rashida, because Merch is ever so overzealous and excited to take on the job. And so, child, they took 3 steps forward to take about a half a step back, because you know Merch gonna come back around, but you know Merch is also about to obsess over getting these dancer girls for this party, because he has a lot to prove. Because even though he said, you know, all of this obsession and all of that has been coming from him missing his friend, it is also coming from a place of him questioning his position in the friend group and in society, and him questioning his identity in the friend group and in society. And I think consequently that shows itself in how he is conducting himself in his marriage at the moment. Because while I do feel like he values Candace's perception of him, and her perception of him is well-rounded and divine, if you will. She has a great perception of him, you know, for better or worse. And mostly for the better, I would say. But that may feel like a mission accomplished at this point. Amongst many other things, may feel like mission accomplished, mission accomplished, mission accomplished to Merch. Whereas the only thing he may feel like he hasn't been able to succeed at is having a stable, high value image and position in his friend group that is in alignment with the type of manhood that they praise. And not only that they praise, but also that they respect, and also that they trust with certain quote unquote manly responsibilities. Because I'm very sure that Merch feels like the reason Quentin didn't choose him as best man is because he didn't trust him to fulfill the quote unquote manly or masculine responsibilities that come along with that, such as quote unquote knowing what Quentin likes, specifically as it concerns the bachelor party. But we're going to stick a pin in that for now and move on to this quick scene with Robin and the chef lady that she met. Savannah is her name. Her and Savannah enjoying the local vendors. So yes, they are in the midst of town, as my folks would say. They have gone to town and they are indulging and embracing the local vendors, food, jewelry, clothes, culture. And I'm highly appreciative of these scenes with Robin, because in a lot of shows and even movies, when writers or directors depict a turning point with a character, they tend to have them go through one moment that just displays that one moment created this years of enlightenment. When in real life and actuality is not just one moment that evokes those long-lived turning points of evolution and enlightenment. It is a series, a process of enlightening moments, of epiphanies, of wake-up calls and downloads. And it's a process to even get into a point where you are willing to allow yourself to embrace the change that you are even being met with. Because with the change knocking on your door comes a lot of fears, specifically fears concerning losing things or people, and even concerning losing characteristics and elements of yourself that you thought were so important. And I'm going to stick a pin in that, and I want y'all to keep that in mind too, especially when we get to Quentin later in the episode. We transition over and pick up with Jordan getting her meditation on, and the sexy black boy Joy goes on over and mingles with your girl. And while she's been playing hard to get all this time, her body language and her lingo is giving that she is much more ready to go today. As in, she's much more open to kicking it with him now than she, well, at least showing it, than she was willing to show it before. But now he done pulled the hurt on her, and he's playing hard to get. He gonna ask her, oh, what you doing today? And she like, nothing. Shelby showed up and took my phone, just for him to turn around and say, oh, well, I'm booked and busy. I guess I have to see you later. And child, you know she ain't like that. Had the girl over there talking to herself, talking about this is why I don't like men. Ooh, child, now I'm talking to myself. Yeah, girl, you got it bad. When you meditating and you let that sexy man disturb you. Oh, you got it bad. When you mix the text from him and you're thrown off track. No, you got it bad when you dissed him yesterday. Now you wanna go on a date and he booked and busy. Oh. But child, she checks herself, gets back into her zone, and we transition on over to the fellas. And they are getting rubbed down. Supposed to be relaxing, but everybody seems to be worked up, except Lance. Quentin, of course, is worked up because he's obsessing over Shelby, trying to hide his unrequited love for your gal. And also, either itching to tell them or nervous about telling them that he fucked her. But either way, the more he rants and is turning pink and his eyes is shuffling and the guys start to looking at him like, shouted, what is really going on? He just goes on right out and said, yeah, out there last night. And they all are taking a back and then a forth thing. And Lance asks him like, so this whole situationship that you done been had with Shelby's been going on for decades. When is it going to end? And Quentin is like, look, I ain't married yet. It's going to end right now. I'm getting married tomorrow. Da 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 da. And Merch gets a phone call from the exotic dancer company, one of them that he has contacted, trying to get the dancer girls, the shaker girls. And he frantic. Y'all, Merch is a little cheap. It done occurred to me. And I know Merch got money. All of them got money. So why he being cheap? Why he being stingy with the coin? But as Merch is answering the call and, handling his business with that, of course, everybody, including Q, hears him, and Q is taking the back and then the forth, and then it's like, I know you lying to me. Harpo, What type of best man are you, sir? And he like, look, I'm trying to do this, And he like, Did you, Ziamara? It is so funny to me that Harper cannot live his sexual escapade with Mia down, because now they just assume that anytime it's a wedding going on and Harper is acting weird and not being his best self, they automatically assume it's because he is being a hater, because he done screwed they girl. And even though in real life, the types of people that get blamed for everything, because I have been that type of person, that can be a hard life to live. But as a character on a show and a franchise like this, it is funny as hell that we blame Harper for everything. Everything is Harper's fault. A lot of the time it is Harper's fault, for real. But even when it's not Harper's fault, it's still Harper's fault, because it's always Harper's fault. And that is definitely a running joke. And it works. And the timing and the distribution also of that particular running joke is excellent and amazing. I love it. Especially because Tay Diggs' faces be hilarious AF. But y'all, that scene was enough to let us know that Murch is taking his opportunity serious. Quentin is going through it with his mixed up emotions, and we get some implications on what Quentin kind of thinks about Murch in a way, concerning his reaction to Murch being in charge of getting the Shaker girls. We see Lance and some new energy, and we see Murch in a tight space all the way around. Tisk. And I love how this is also a scene where they're getting massages. It's a very calm and serene zen area, but it's a tension in the air. And nobody in the situation can seem to relax except Lance at this point. But we are happen to skip on over to Jordan and Shelby taking a walk, taking a stroll, looking damn good. Good, I tell you. Good. And they discussing the menses. Jordan is telling Shelby about the encounter that she had with sexy black boy Joy. And Shelby is low-key, high-key shading and reading her about her outfit. Like, girl, okay, he was ready yesterday because you was dressed like you was ready. Today, you is dressed like a school teacher. Like you finna read to some kids, okay? What is it giving? And Jordan is like, yeah, okay, shut up. Enough about me. Let's talk about you and the dangerous games that you playing up here trying to freak on this girl. Man, I know that you done had him all these years, but old girl is writing him now and you ain't got no business on his lap trying to shut her thighs. This ain't no Popeyes, white meat, dog meat, mixed special. You can't get the red beans and rice and the biscuit. Shouty, you got to pick a struggle. And Shelby continuing with the shade. And she cocky too, girl. She like, girl, I got it. You ain't got to worry about me. But let's talk about you and the dangerous games that you be playing. Girl, talking about Harper. Shelby is missing. It's it. And Jordan is like, girl, what? Who's Harper? Why you bringing up old stuff? And before they can even get into that, Ziamara walks up, also looking damn good. And based off everybody's actions and reactions, I feel like Ziamara was definitely expecting them. She knew that they would be there at that exact time, but they were not expecting her at that time. And real quick, peep how their costumage, what they have on, their aesthetic, peep how it either blends in with the scenery, stands out amongst the scenery, or complements the scenery. And like I said, I'm definitely going to do a fashion / costume design review. Yeah, now who? You know the vibes be real nice and nasty when it comes to Shelby and Ziamara. So they do they pleasantries. Hey, how you doing? And that third, blah 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 blah. And Zio's like, oh, you enjoying your stay? You enjoying everything? You enjoy your night? And Shelby is like, I had a ball. And Jordan excuses herself before it even gets too hot. And when Jordan exits, Zio is like, oh, you had a ball. That's an interesting choice of words. Don't you mean you had two balls in your mouth? And baby, Shelby is taking a backing and a forthing, but she holding her own though. And Zio went ahead and shook her up right quick, right fast, and was like, girl, I know you sat on my man's lap and rocked your hips and waved and sipped. So don't does it easy with me, baby. Give me the details. I want to know. So you rolled? And Zia Mara say to her, girl, how my salad tastes? My salad, my sugar bowl. If you know, you know. And so, y'all, Shelby is no more good in this moment. Has absolutely nothing to say. And you know, for Shelby to be speechless, ooh, your girl's card has been pulled, chopped, screwed, and thrown to the wolves. Tess. And Ziamara follows up talking about she got some type of detox to do, and child, she exit. But y'all, I'm going to get through going through the deets of everything else that happened. We'll see how this turns out. We'll see where all those little seeds will bloom throughout the rest of the episode. Because the first half of this episode is jam-packed and each moment is entertaining. However, and that's why I said I love the reality show elements that they're giving with this also. Because in reality show world, they was in film also, but a lot of time in reality show world, especially how this trip that they're on is kind of like a cash trip on a reality show. And there's this like building tension that's happened, which I described on the first episode also, but it's like, okay, second day of the cash trip, let's see where everything picks up at, and eventually blows up, huh? And so whereas last episode, the big blow up at the end was Shelby showing up at all. So this episode, we pick up with the shebang of that much. Like on a reality show, the big fight happens at the end of the episode, and then they cut it, and then the episode after that picks up in the middle of the fight, and we see, you know, where it went from there. And we saw where it went from there on this episode. They ended up in the bed together, Shelby and Quentin. So then we follow up with the resolution with Candace and Merch, some newfound resolutions, if you will, with Harper and Robin. Lance's somewhat of revelation through his dream about Mia/Jasmine. And it's all building up to see how Quentin and Ziamara are going to handle this Shelby situation. How Merch is going to pull off this bachelor party. What's going on with Lance? What's happening with Harper in the book and his relationship with Robin? What's happening with Robin? And Jordan still trying to find some peace and a piece of pink. And how long is Candace going to continue to be patient with Merch, being obsessively overzealous about proving himself to his friends, essentially? But y'all, I have milked this cow dry, and I thoroughly appreciate the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quarters for the next time. And be sure to bless my comment section with show questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.